All right, welcome everyone to this special edition of Huddle. We're so glad you're here. And Will Cooper's joining me today. And today we got a couple subjects to talk about. We got a few housekeeping items, but the majority of the time we are going to focus on managing your SOI, how to communicate, how often, and in what manner. So hope this will be of some benefit to you. And I think we have done some holiday marketing stuff in the past. We're not going to focus solely on that, but we may cover that a little bit. And as always, if you have questions, you need assistance on a transaction or any random items that you want to bring up, we're here for that. So let's begin. This is just a quick housekeeping item, and I know that Will and I, and I'm sure you all as well, are a bit burnt out on talking about buyer's agency, how to do buyer stuff. We're burnt out on it because we've been talking about it for a hot minute now. But we do want to talk about a reminder that Mark sent out yesterday. I'm not going to read the whole email, but it's essentially a reminder that we do have to have our buyer broker agreement signed before we show a single home. And yes, it is a pain in the butt. And yes, it's not the most convenient thing in the world, but it is part of the NAR settlement. So make sure that you have that in mind. And if people question it, say, hey, it's part of a settlement agreement that we've entered into, and it's part of the deal now. But I don't know that I've heard of, there's some general pushback, but I don't know that I'm hearing pushback that would be sort of out of the realm of the normal on this issue anymore. So anyway, that's all we got to say about that. That's all I got to say about that. All right, moving on. We're going to talk about, we're going to get in the weeds on SOI management today. And when I say in the weeds, I mean like to the detail. So whenever I have new people, and I'm talking to new people about how to start their careers, the basic things they should do. And many of you may disagree, and feel free to disagree. Feel free to disagree. This is just my opinion. The first thing that I tell them to do, the most valuable thing that they can do with their time as a new person, is to start an Excel spreadsheet and start managing their contacts. And by managing their contacts, I mean simply adding people to this Excel spreadsheet that they are going to basically add and subtract for the rest of their career. This single document. Now, yes, there are a million ways that we can manage this with CRMs, and they could make things significantly easier. But the only thing of actual tangible value that you may have at the end of your career is this SOI list that your contacts are in. Let's talk about that, because this is a really important subject. Now, just so everybody has something, now I know that many of you may not be managing your contacts at all. There's no time like the present to start that process. So I have uploaded a basic contact list in Excel spreadsheet, .csv, that's an important thing to take note, that you can start managing your contacts in. Now, many of us have just grown up managing our entire lives on our phones. That's okay. But the bottom line is it can be so much better if you just have this one document. This document can travel everywhere with you. It's not Berkshire's document. It's not anybody's document. This is just a contact list. First name, last name, email, street, city, state, zip, the basics, right? So when we upload this, to our system, and why am I super zoomed in on Zoom right now? I don't know. Does everybody else see just my head on Zoom? That's really weird.
Definitely a digital ad there, brother Mike.
Okay, well, I'll try to keep talking and not looking at my zoomed in head. I think it's my camera doing that. I might as well make it bigger. To answer Phil's question, is KD Core still in the works? Actually, yeah, there we go. Joe, do you know if KD Core is still in the works, and what is the situation with that? Because we are
It is
talking
still in
about
the works. Yeah, it's still in the works. It's been renamed Bold Trail. So in case you weren't excited enough about a CRM, one of our three that we have access to, it is called Bold Trail. And Bold Trail is, we are one of the brokerages that signed up ready for it. They are still having some significant issues with integration between anything you create in Marketing Resource and anything you would do on that platform, which of course their answer is simply, well, then buy our module that does all the other stuff for you. So we're still kind of navigating those waters, but yeah, it will be, it'll show up in Resource Center, I would say, first part of Q1 2025.
Yeah, thank you. Um, so yeah, I don't know that we want to talk today so much about how optimally to manage our SOI when it comes to a CRM, though your life would become easier and more efficient if you did use one. But this basic contact list can go with you everywhere. I would also challenge new people as they're going through and adding people to this list, um, to view this contact list in this manner. If you come to me 2 months from now and we're in a coaching session, I say, okay, how many contacts are in your SOI? And the answer is, oh, probably 70-ish people in your SOI. I would say that is not the best answer. I would say the best answer is I have 83 people in my SOI. And the difference is pretty clear, right? It means that they are paying attention very closely to how many people they're actually interacting with on a daily basis. They're adding frequently, they're subtracting frequently, they're seeing who has actually opened an email, right? They have intimate knowledge of what's going on with their contact list. So I would challenge you to ask yourself this question: how many people are in my SOI list? If you don't know, if you have zero answer to that question, like, I don't know, it might be 20, it might be 135, I have no idea. We need to, over the next 30 days, come to that number. That's a very important number. It's important because it gives you an idea about the size of your potential business and the future of your business. So if you're saying, listen, I don't know what the future of my business looks like, and you have some uncertainty about what that looks like, the uncertainty can be calmed down a bit if you have some idea of what your SOI looks like, because the SOI should be the core of our business. So just in the chat right now, I'm going to challenge everybody in the chat. How many people do you have in your SOI? And I want you to be honest, because quite frankly, I would say 80% of us probably don't have a firm grasp on how many people are in our SOI. And to go to the exact point of this exercise, even the brokerage that you work for, we talk about the number of people in our SOI, our agents, our closest people that we want to take care of every single day. We know what that number is every single week. So these are great numbers coming in. So 265, 289, 83, 129, 339. These are really important numbers, okay? And it's really good that you know them. If you're struggling with this a bit, let's talk about how we make this list bigger. So as we are creating our business, right, and we're trying to expand our business, there's several ways to do it, but the easiest and most accessible way for us to expand our business is to increase our SOI. And so think about it this way. We can either think about the people we know and brainstorm about the people we know, right? Who did we grow up with? Who's on my kid's soccer team? Who do I go to church with? And I'm zooming in again and I don't know why. And I think my camera has a, this is hilarious. I think my camera has some function that zooms in.
That's funny. You need a tighter shave. There you go. That's better.
Look, if I hold my hand up, then it does it. Okay, I got to quit holding my hand up.
Hey, the other day when you were walking around your office, it was following you.
I know I got to get a new one. I know this one follows me. I had higher hopes for it, and it's kind of a pain.
But it was weird when you had your back to us. It was like your camera was checking out your butt or something. It was weird.
Again, I don't know who programmed it. So Okay, I'm gonna leave my little tool up there so the next time it zooms in on my
Hey, can
face.
I, while you're doing that, can I add something to this
Please
the
do.
SOI number? When you look at here, let me grab the visual. One sec, guys. Just some basic SOI management. When you're looking at, if you remember the planning map from the coaching session that we've done, over here in the corner, we want our total number, which Mike just asked for. I think it's a really good thing for you to manage how many you're adding per quarter and your frequency of contact in general. And I'll add one more. This is a very pretty common coaching I've heard from a lot of coaches on SOI, but we need our A group more than anything, and that's our likely to refer group. Typically, those are family, friends, and past clients likely to refer. The reason for that is because it's really wise to spend more time and money on that group. So instead of sending out, something that's 500 or 1,000 to the entire group, that's probably going to be an email or something like that. That doesn't cost you anything. But if you want to do something like, give a slice of pie or something this time of year, or the whole pie, or two pies, whatever you want to do, and this may be a little bit, maybe metaphoric a little bit, but if you want to spend money, spend it on the A group. If you want to do a drop-by visit, spend on the A group. If you want a client appreciation event, spend it on the A group. You're a lot more effective in that group than any other group. Personal reach outs and things like that, and the mechanisms we use our database for, which is prospecting and staying in touch. If you're going to put a campaign of expense to behind a group, make sure it's the A group, likely to refer. So think about how you're dividing your group up so you can select out the A group from your whole entire database.
Very good. Thank you, Will. By the way, what page is that on? I got the coaching manual up right now. I can send it in the chat. What page you got?
2 seconds, I'll tell you. It is page 21.
All right, y'all. Coming in the chat is what Will was just referencing. One second. Okay. And there's the flip book. By the way, that's the entire coaching manual, but it should pull up right on that diagram that Will's referencing. It's a really good point. And I think the other thing to add to what Will's saying is, our goal is to expand our SOI so it meets the needs of the life we want to live within this business, right? So if that's the goal, there's a hierarchy of things that we should spend our time on to increase our SOI. It may be that after you've exhausted all other resources, the best thing to do is to call every number that you put in your phone and see what happens. Probably not, right? But if you haven't gone through a brainstorming exercise to find new contacts, and then once you've done that, if you're a veteran agent right now and you realize you haven't done anything with your SOI in the past 12 months, this is a really good time to start adding to that and add people that you don't know, that you currently don't have on your SOI list. For instance, I know that many of us, I am guilty of this. We close real estate transactions, we don't add them to our SOI list, and all of a sudden we've gone 6 months and we haven't contacted them. Ways to avoid that. Let's talk about. I'm sort of jumping all over here.
Hey, Mike, before you go to your reach out and stay in touch, you spawned a thought. A few years ago, when I was newer to Brookshire, I helped a team construct an exit of their so retire from real estate. Okay, so can I retire from real estate? What's the value of my business? Maybe some of you are going, how do you retire from real estate? Some of you don't do that yet. We like having you around. Okay. So what's the value of your business? One of the equations for the value of your business is the revenue generated from your SOI on an annual basis times 3. That's one way to look at it. So how do you sell that? Well, in this particular case, We were just shy of $300,000 a year. Remember, $280,000 a year generated from their SOI on an annual basis. We just looked at closings, 280,000 of GCI on an annual basis from the SOI. So the agent purchasing the business paid the agent $50,000 in good faith, and then paid a trailing off referral fee every year on that database. We started off with 35% in year one. Actually, back up. Sorry, there was one year in which they worked together as a partnership. So they announced to the center of influence that, hey, I have a partner in my business, and everything was joint marketing. That was year number one. Everything was split 50-50. Then year number two was 35%, and then 25%. And then the final year, I believe, was 5 or 10%. So you want to know how you retire from real estate and how you can exit the business? It's the value of the referrals and revenue generated from your center of influence. That should be very, very important to all of us because it's a very valuable asset. We need to treat it like that. It really represents what your business is and how we can value it in the end. Now, I mean, what would you pay? What if I came to you right now and I said, there is a real estate agent who generates $300,000 a year from their SOI. They are considering partnering with you and they're looking at options. What would that be worth to you if you had $300,000 a year of GCI coming from a source? All of us easily would pay a referral fee of 25 to 35%. Absolutely, without question. Well, of course, every agent would do that. This particular agent who wrote the check for 50 grand said, I'm going to make a commitment to that. I'll make it right now, and I'll do it in good faith. I do believe that there was some language that said that if there, it was like a prepaid referral fee and would be credited over time, if I remember right. Because what if nothing happened? Well, it did perform well, especially in year number one. They did way more than the 300,000. They partnered together. It was fantastic. Anyway, if you look at how to train yourself as real estate agents, exiting business, how do you structure an exit? That's a very common one. Some small cash, it's database performance, it's referral based, it trails out over time. Please value your database. It's a huge, huge, huge value of who you are as a business.
All right. I love that because it does paint the picture of why this is so important. Now, to add a small wrinkle to what Will just said, what would you pay for someone's business if they couldn't define it? Like, they're doing it and they're getting referrals, but they didn't manage any of these people. They don't have contacts. It's just sort of strewn about, and things are sort of flowing in on their phone, and they're getting a text message, and they haven't really created a real way to market to these people and contact them. You'd be much less hesitant to move forward in that instance, right? So that's why this exercise is so important. Let's talk about ways, and I would recommend that every probably, 4 to 6 months, you need to do this exercise. So your contacts are easily accessible, obviously in your phone. So as you go, you can easily do a contact export on your phone to transfer it to the list that I just put in the chat. Okay. iPhone, let's see. Is that the iPhone? I do have some, I'm going to put this in here because I think it's handy. If this doesn't work and you really want to do this, there's plenty of people in this company, including myself, who will help you with this. So let's start with, we need to export everything on our phone. Is this going to work? Nope, it's not, because there's too many characters. Okay, so the bottom line is this is a Google search away on how to export from your iPhone. Okay, the same goes for Android. You can easily export those. I myself, because I have a Gmail account, I am syncing every contact to Gmail. That is the easiest source to me to manage all your contacts. Now, if you're having an iPhone and the iPhone defaults to iCloud, it's doing the same thing. So if you're backing all your contacts up to iCloud, you can simply export your iCloud or your contacts from your phone and do an import and create this list automatically. Now, the great thing about our platforms and any CRM is you can continually do this, right? You're saying, well, I don't want to double import contacts. They're smart enough not to do that anymore. So simply export from your phones, upload into the CRM, and it'll say, hey, we uploaded 800, but there were only 2 new ones. So we only imported 2, and the rest of them we let go, okay? Dotloop is a really great source of contacts. I want to show you guys something because I know I've always been told they're in there, but I haven't really seen what that looks like. So Dotloop has a really great, Dotloop's storing all of your contacts, and I want to show you, maybe give you a little inspiration of how to find this stuff. This is what mine looks like. And remember, I'm not doing transactions. I'm helping people with stuff, okay? This is just my contacts. Now, there's some real estate agents in here, but there's a lot of people that I've forgotten their names of. Okay, this is a really good way to start importing people. And the great thing about it is they have at a minimum their email addresses, which is really important. So again, you should recognize these placeholders up here. It's just simply in people. It'll bring you to trusted providers first, and then you just click on contacts. Okay, so all these people that I've done deals with are in here. Yeah, there may be some repeats, but that's a really good way to easily add people that you've forgotten into your SOI. So Dotloop is a really good resource to get your contacts. Outlook, another great way to do your contacts because you're sending and receiving emails anyway. A lot of those people are already in there. So Outlook also has contacts that you can export. So this is something that is very much worthwhile. So I don't know if it's a trope or what, but I do believe it's real. There's a loose rule of thumb theory. If you have 100 contacts in your SOI and you work it properly, there's no reason you can't do 10 transactions a year from that contacts list. Okay. Obviously, if you're buying contacts for, buying 1,000 contacts, that's very different. But if these are people who know you and have worked with you in the past, and you really work this SOI list, a 10%, you have, I've seen numbers in here, 339, 129. If we work these things really hard, we should be able to do 10% in the number of units out of that list, right? That should be a goal. Because we're always looking for deals, and the first place that we should look is in these contact lists, okay? Does anybody have any questions on CRMs, where to find your contacts, maybe even brainstorming to get the contacts better? See, I did it. It's this motion that zoomed in again. This is ridiculous. Why did this never happen in the past? I don't know. Yeah, questions on those subjects while I unzoom myself. There we go. All right, there we go. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the management of our SOI list. So I'm just in the chat. I want to challenge everybody, and let's stick to kind of our A and B tier of our contacts. So the A tier, like Will was talking about, are the people that are most likely to refer us. I did it again with these hand signals, man. How can I take that off? Anti-tracking standard. I don't know. I don't know how to do it. Okay, anyway. Okay, no hands. No hands. I know I have Italian ancestry.
I could never do that.
That is no excuse. I'm going to grip a pen. There we go. I'm going to grip the pen and not do my hand gesture. Let's talk about how often we contact and how we work our SOI. So just in the chat, I want everybody to kind of tell me what your plan is. Like how often are you contacting your A and B group? So A group would be people who are the most likely to refer you business. And quite frankly, if anybody's giving you a referral, a past client or a family or friend in the past 18 months or 24 months, they should be in your A list. So let me challenge just a yes or no in the chat. Do you have a plan in writing or in your head about how often you contact these people? Just put that in the chat real quick. I want to see what we got. We got a few yeses. Thank you everyone for participating. All right, let's talk about, so I think our instincts are, of course, we have to have some plan in place. How else are we going to do business, right? How are we going to organize our lives around this business and create leads? Debbie says, yes, working on importing my contacts into a new CRM and building out the drip system. Very good. Amanda says, yes. Phil says, no. Lena says, yes, on my calendar on Wednesday. So Lena brings up a really good point. Personally, I like CRMs. I like diving into them and seeing what they can do. I like the automation of a CRM because it's fun to me. I do know that there's a whole bunch of you, probably the vast majority, don't want to dive into the technical aspect of it. It's confusing. It's you don't have confidence that it's going to produce the results you want. And that's a reasonable position to have, by the way. And Lena brings up a really good point. The calendar on your phone is a great CRM. It just is. So if you don't want to dive headfirst into a CRM to build out a drip system, then just use your calendar. And by the way, when you put some, I'm going to contact Bob Jones. Okay. And we know that Bob Jones just so happens to be in our ASOI list. This is a person who refers us business. And we have determined that we are going to call Bob Jones every quarter for the next 250 years to get business. Okay. So we just put Bob Jones in on Wednesday. And we can set the recurrence of Bob Jones to be on our calendar so we can forget it. I would recommend you put Bob Jones and his phone number there. Right? I mean, that might be too old school. I was doing that when I had to actually dial the phone number. Maybe that's too old school. But anyway, put Bob Jones in, set the recurrence, schedule the follow-up with him, and manage your entire life that way. So when you open your phone and look at your calendar in the morning, you know that this is the day of the quarter that you're calling Bob Jones. Listen, this is, I also want to challenge everybody to this. How many of your A and B people are you talking to on the phone, making a prospecting call at least twice a year, right? There's no other reason to call them other than, hey, hope you're doing well. How's the family? How's the job? How's whatever? And then you have a sincere interest in their life. And then you end the phone call with, by the way, do you know anybody who wants to buy or sell real estate? Okay. Please, everybody tell me that you're doing this at least twice a year. And by the way, in the chat, while you're doing this in the chat, does anybody want to offer up how often they're contacting their A-list people? Like, do you have a goal of how often you're contacting your A-list people? I would offer up, I'm with Scott on this one. Scott just says about quarterly. That's sort of where my instincts take me on this issue. I think every quarter, the people who are referring your business need to hear from you some way. Well, let me rephrase that. They need to hear from you some way that is personable. Okay. I know that we're going to talk about our emailing, social media, and other things to manage our SOI. We're going to talk about that as well. But there is a group of people that need to hear from us personally. Every quarter, I would think, is the minimum. You're going to naturally contact some people much more than that. Some people who are in our A-list or our SOI, we talk to 3 or 4 times a week, fortunately and unfortunately. But I think if you don't have a plan, I think quarterly is a good thing to look out for, and make a phone call is the best way to do it. Have a sincere conversation about their life. And if you're marketing to them correctly, that could be the easiest phone call, a check-in. And if you send them one of our newsletters every single month, do you have to remind them that you're in real estate? Probably not. Like, you've marketed to them correctly. They know that you're in real estate. They know what you're doing all the time. We can just have a sincere conversation and catch up and get to know them. Okay. So I would suggest that be your target. So again, quarterly contacts to our A list, our B list, I think should be on there too. We need to be reaching out to these people. If you are finding yourself that I don't know what to do next, I don't know where to get business, do you think that we should be reaching out to the other people on our SOI with a phone call? Right? That's more direct prospecting that we probably need to do. Lena says, 10 to 12 client weekly updates, then SOI. I have a contact date column, contact APX quarterly. I really love that. One of the things that Dana brings up, or Lena, sorry, not Dana. Lena brings up a really good point. I think one of the benefits of having the CRM is that if you're working through a CRM, it reminds you of your last contact. You can leave notes about this person, right? You can say, hey, last time I contacted this person was 3 months ago, and they had a significant life event coming up. And so the next time you call them, that's a really good reminder of things that are going on in their life. That's how, if we care about them, we're going to remember these things. Sometimes it's too hard to remember with this many people we're dealing with. So
sorry, Mike, that's 10 a.m. to noon. It's just when I call. So
okay.
Sorry for that confusion.
All right, thanks. So you're calling 2 hours a day, and you're starting with client weekly updates, and then you're moving to your SOI. I think this
on Wednesdays, yeah. And I
Wednesdays.
mail out note cards and stuff every day and things like that. So there's other stuff, but I probably talk to I think I've got to update my SOI. So probably I might have about 250, 300 people when I get it updated. Refreshed.
Good number. Very good number. I think what Lane is getting at is right on. Like I think one of the things that you'll find, good, bad, or indifferent, with Lena's strategy, Lena knows when she comes to work every week how she's going to prospect and how she's going to execute and how she's going to find a new client. Is that accurate, Lena? Okay.
Yeah, if I don't have something written out, I forget. And if I don't put a date in when I contacted them, and like you said, some notes, I mean, come on, I'm blonde and I'm a girl, so I forget.
Easy now. Easy.
Mike, can I just chime in real quick on that? So Lena just explained the absolute most critical thing of any SOI, CRM, whatever. If you don't manually put notes in, there is no system in the world that will do that for you. Period. And I know that sounds almost, I don't want it to sound harsh, but there is no CRM in the world that can do what you want it to do unless you put in your notes and then schedule your next event, right? Now, if you're feeling overwhelmed and like, oh man, CRM is going to be too crazy, it's that. The first thing you need to know is CRM will not solve that problem for you. You have to solve that problem for you, right? Because no matter what you're using, if Lane and I talk, I haven't seen her in a long time, got a start sales meeting, big hugs, whatever. And then if I don't type that in so that the next time I see Lena, I have something to refer to, there's not a system in the world that will take what you have in your brain and put it in a program. You have to manually do that. And if you can't do that on a calendar, there's no CRM in the world that will help you, right? So if you have a meeting and you have an engagement and you're doing something and you can't pull your phone out 2 weeks in the future, put a little event on your calendar and say, follow up with Lena about move from Nashville, see how it's coming back in Logan, and then hit save. If you can't do that piece, there's no automated software that can ever do that for you, right? So the point being is, in order to get this really mastered, start using what you use all the time. So, we have 3 CRMs. I can help you use all of those, whatever. Just try it on your calendar. Just try it on your phone. Pick up your phone, you do your prospecting call, you do whatever. Go to a month ahead, 3 weeks ahead, however you want to do the follow-up, and just put in a little note on your calendar, right? Follow up with Cynthia, follow up with Jennifer, follow up with whatever, and put in a couple of notes about what you talked about. If you can do that successfully, then the rest of these automation platforms will help amplify that particular behavior. But if you can't do that with just your phone, then investing in the CRM and learning and spending your valuable time and learning all that kind of stuff like that, you're going to end up being disappointed, because the CRM will only do, they call it garbage in, garbage out, meaning if you're not adding those notes and adding the scheduled time and when you're going to do a follow-up, then the computer doesn't know when to remind you to call Lena back, right? Because you just, it doesn't know you talked to Lena. You just click through and you do that. It's a critical part of this whole thing on SOI management, is understanding that the key to all of this stuff is you. Like, you are the key. You're the only person that knows what you talked about, what to follow up on, the intuition you had on, when somebody is starting to ask a couple questions about, is it a good time to sell my house? Like all of that is you. It's your expertise. It's your professionalism. It's why you're worth every single percentage point on your commission. And if you're not putting that in a place where you can readily recall that to help jog that professionalism, there's not a software platform in the world that can substitute what you are anywhere, right? So two pieces of that. Number one, just realize ultimately your SOI efficiency is 100% up to you. And number two, nobody else is doing it, which means if you do it, guess how much more effective than your entire market you can be, right? Get out there and make it happen because you guys are the best in the business.
Love it, Joe. Absolutely love it. Thank you. I don't have any, there's nothing to add to that. That was perfect. Well said. All right. So if there's not any more questions on, frequency of contact, how to get our contacts in the place we need, and I'm doing the hand signals again. And let's move on to marketing to our SOI. So I want to remind you. So I would say that there's two really important things to market to our SOI at a minimum. Of course, there could be a lot more. Let's just say there's three maybe. The easiest one, the absolute easiest one is email marketing. Okay. The reason email marketing is the easiest for you, Berkshire people, Berkeys, is because the only thing you have to do to have an amazing, robust email marketing campaign is one, automate your monthly newsletter. Okay. We just send it out for you. You can forget about even sending it. And then two, we have a significant number of emails that come out that you can send to your clients. So let's talk about them. So obviously we have our monthly newsletter. And by the way, the reminder is that each market has their own newsletter. Okay. So if you have clients who are in St. George, but you're a Wasatch Front person, there's absolutely no reason that you can't send both, but you have to go in and segment that for us so we can send it to the right people. So be aware of that. The Utah Business Report. So we created this newsletter primarily for our relocation clients because we as a company have to market to relocation businesses and businesses themselves to generate leads for our relocation company. So we created the Utah Business Report. It's a really good report for all our agents, right? But there's only a certain part of your SOI who may be interested in that. So that's available for you. We do have some generic area reports or area guides that you can send out to your clients. Interesting data comes out frequently. There's interesting data to, if you have those data-minded people who in the past, hey, I want more comps. I want more this. What's the demographics of the area that I'm moving to? Those are the people that might be interested in our interesting data emails. So be aware that you could send those. Quarterly stats, we just produced that. That's always a good thing to send out to your clients. Quarterly stats is a really great one. Also, that's a great combo for our social media because be aware that we are producing the graphics for the social media for quarterly stats. Luxury guide. Doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know about y'all. I can't afford a $10 million home in Park City, unfortunately. I cannot afford one. But do I like looking at them when they come out in the luxury guide? Yes, I do. And I think all of us do. I think everybody likes looking at those. So that's a really good piece to email to your SOI. By the way, when you get a new listing, it's already in the Marketing Resource Center. If you're not aware, I think when you get a new listing, you should be sending that out to your SOI. I think it's a really good, and by the way, those things are automatically created for you. You don't have to spend a lot of time doing them. If you need help, contact your broker because I can get those things put together in minutes because that's what that program does for us. Those are all just in Resource Center. Okay. So the other things that are meaningful, we're going to talk about social media a little bit, but Lane talked about handwritten cards and pop-bys. So I do know multiple agents who, as part of their marketing plan and contact plan to their SOI, they have invented maybe a half a dozen reasons throughout the year, every other month, they've invented reasons to stop by and knock on someone's door and do a pop by. And if they're not there, they just leave it on their doorstep. And it can be, the holidays are a really easy reason to do that. People are bringing by pies, they're stopping by for the holidays, dropping off, little gift just to have one-on-one FaceTime with these people. But that's like 2 or 3 for the holidays. That's easy. And now you only have to find 2 or 3 other reasons to stop by their house otherwise. So make a list of them, put them in your calendar, and make a habit of it. I've seen a lot of success doing that because their clients develop an expectation of seeing them frequently, and most people really appreciate it. Other great things that I've seen to manage your SOIs that you can think about. I do know probably a half a dozen agents in my marketplace. There's probably more who do an annual SOI party. And these range from inviting 20 or 30 of their closest SOI people over to their house for a barbecue to actually renting out space and spending, a few months promoting this event and inviting as many people as they can. So think about the cost of a barbecue at your house and how much, and don't relate it to the cost of a meal. You relate it to your marketing budget. Like, how much am I willing to spend on marketing this year, right? Because a barbecue at your house or a barbecue at the park at the right time of year might not be that expensive, okay? Especially in relation to a lot of other things you could be doing through time, right? The other great things to talk about with your SOI that I think are meaningful to stay in touch. I do know 2 agents who have been doing this faithfully for years and have developed a very loyal SOI following, is birthday meals. So every single one of their clients that they actually care about, they have their birthday, and they spend real time every single week figuring out who these people are, what upcoming birthdays are coming, and they're making phone calls, sending emails, and scheduling a birthday meal. And they have been doing it for years, and it's really pays off for them. And they tell me, we don't talk about real estate unless they ask. I'm just there to celebrate their birthday, catch up with them, and and if they ask me, because everybody asks, how you doing? How's your job? You can talk about real estate. You can talk about yourself a little bit. But that's a really good thing that you can be doing to stay in touch with your SOI. Anybody else have any, because I know there's a million good ideas out there. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add to that? Put it in the chat if you do, and I'll keep moving along. Let's see.
Mike, I'm sorry, I've had too many interruptions this call.
I want more. I get
love
bored
this
of hearing
stuff.
myself.
Everybody on this call that has a Gmail address, you might be missing one of your greatest marketing opportunities, which is YouTube. Your ability to create a YouTube video on your phone, upload it on your phone to your YouTube channel, is the easiest, most powerful way to get eyeballs on you and your listings and your potential, your buyer clients, everything. And the craziest thing about it is YouTube has proven time and time again, the less professional looking your video, the more views you get. I know that seems ridiculously crazy and there's no way, because I know everyone's sitting there thinking, I don't want myself on camera. I don't have the lighting right. I don't have one of those little mics that everybody wears and all that stuff. Yes. And guess what? What they're looking for is literally a chance to sit down with you and to get via video the authentic experience of interacting with you. So start thinking in terms of 2-minute clips. I don't care if it's your favorite dry cleaner. I don't care if it's, this is the place I take my dogs on Saturday. I don't care if it's you're at a Utah State game or you're doing something else. Pulling your phone out and explaining where you are, what you're doing, and how much you love where you live and what you represent in a little 2-minute format, even though the camera's shaky and it looks weird. And I have no hair, so when I'm flushed, my entire head goes different colors. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That content is more powerful than anything else. And as Mike had mentioned earlier, on Resource Center, you can take videos that you make and post on your YouTube channel, and you can integrate those into everything you send out during Marketing Resource. And so now you have a much higher, what they call open rate, meaning I have a thumbnail of, Steve, who's doing a video on something, and I see that thumbnail, and I go, what is Steve saying? Click, right? And that is the engagement that drives even more things. And it's free. It costs you nothing. You already have your phone. It's free. All right, that's it. Off my soapbox.
Oh man, that is a wonderful segue into social media marketing. And also, I have been on the video soapbox for so long that I didn't want to say anything. And fortunately for me, Joe did. So now I get to talk about it again. Yeah, I would also add that, by the way, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, and that like 80% of adults say that they are on YouTube. So there's no reason that you shouldn't be there. If you think that Google is an important tool to your business and that people should be able to Google you, well, they should be able to YouTube you. And I don't know if that's a real phrase, but they should. But I'm coining it. They should be able to YouTube you. Um, yeah, video is awesome. And I think that you should challenge yourself. If you're not doing video, the easiest places to start, in my opinion, are maybe do quarterly newsletter or your monthly newsletter, and you just simply explain what's in the newsletter and just be yourself and just say, hey, I'm open for business. You should call me and we should sell real estate together. You know, something as simple as that. And if you don't know how to do it, I'll tell you that that's not a great excuse because you have amazing resources to teach you how to do it. So, man, dial up the video. By the way, just in the chat, how many people have made, it's almost the year end, we're approaching that. How many people have made more than 5 videos this year, just of themselves, doing whatever for the purposes of real estate? Not your videos of like, hey, here's a tour of a house. Now, if you toured the house and you narrated the tour of the house, that's a really good example. Um, oh, Chris talking me. I got it. Natalie says not this year. Leslie's doing it. I know Kim Phipps is doing it. I think I've seen a Kim Phipps video or two, maybe, I don't know, video or two from Kim. Um, yeah, and I repeat this all the time, but I've discovered you need to repeat everything all the time. So my experience with this, the reason I'm an advocate of it, because I do have experience to see firsthand the effectiveness of video marketing, and it does things that are really easy to recognize. One, it creates familiarity with your audience to people who don't really know you and interact with you frequently. Um, and the easiest way to tell you that is that there's a couple of examples, and the easiest one for me is, well, I'm Mike Fondario. I am the broker in South Ogden. I don't get to interact with a lot personally. Now on the phone I do, and on email or text message I interact with a lot of you, but in person, very few of you. And there's a whole lot of you that I've never seen. I see names, I see this. There's a whole lot of people I've never interacted with. But as I go to the Salt Lake office, or I'm at the company event, or I'm going to see you potentially for our holiday party coming up, the familiarity that people have with me is more than I have with them, right? They've seen me talk, they heard my voice, they kind of understand my personality because they see it, right? They're watching videos or they're whatever. It automatically, it gives them confidence to approach me because they kind of feel like they know me a little bit, and they do, right? That's a real thing. People see your personality and they're much more comfortable approaching you, having that conversation. My other instance to kind of put a bow on this, we're running out of time, about video marketing is that for a very long time as the broker of a brokerage that shall not be named, every single week I made a video, me and another broker, about an upcoming sales meeting and what we were doing and things coming up, and maybe a short, broker message. And we did it every single week, and we put it out. And this brokerage was big enough that there was new people coming in all the time that I never knew. And on multiple occasions, new agents would stop me who I didn't know their name, had never seen them in person. They would stop me in the hallway like I was their friend and have a conversation with me because they had seen my videos. They had never talked to me in person, but they had seen my videos. They hadn't even seen me on Zoom, right? But they'd seen my videos and they felt comfortable enough to approach me and have a conversation with me. That's what it does. It's very effective. Lena says, yes, when in Nashville, set to start again in December and first Wednesday of each month, then we'll move to do weekly. Listen, the hangups with video marketing to your SOI are our own. right? We feel stupid talking into the camera. And let me tell you, the first few times you do it, you will feel stupid. And then you'll play the video back and you'll go, also, not only do I feel stupid, I'm looking at this video and I look stupid. That is just your own brain, and your brain's lying to you because no one else notices. I promise you they don't notice. And if you make mistakes while you're talking into the camera, who cares? Don't edit it out. Don't reshoot it unless you completely go blank for 30 seconds, and then you should probably reconsider. But everything else is great. The last thing in closing, we've talked about importing your contacts. We've talked about maintaining contact with them on a frequent basis. We've talked about having a really detailed knowledge of your SOI database. So when someone asks you, what's your SOI look like? You should say, my SOI is just like many agents did here. It's 127. It's 389. It's 84. That's the level of knowledge you should have with your SOI database. We should also, the other things we talk about, the frequency, how we talk to them, right? Our A and B people in our database, we should be contacting at minimum once quarterly, okay? And we should also be doing email marketing because that's so easy. Let's talk about social media marketing to our SOI is a little more difficult. We're not necessarily marketing to our SOI, we're marketing in a much larger audience. But you should be doing that 3 to 4 times a week if that's something you should be doing. And oh, by the way, you should only be talking about real estate 1 or 2 of those times, okay? Your personality and the things you do in life are of greater importance in your social media marketing than your career. So remember that. The last thing I'll tell you is that the thing I wanted to get to that I didn't is having a marketing plan to these people. The marketing plan should look exactly like a calendar with these things in on the dates that you're going to execute these tasks, okay? Now, the easiest way to do it, and I know this is sounding cliche now, but you need to go find your favorite AI tool and say, create a marketing plan for a real estate agent that includes email marketing and social media marketing. You can even, and when you see that come through, ask it another question like you would ask me. I don't like that. You could say, I don't like that plan. Why don't you give me one that breaks it down what I should do every single day? Write a plan that breaks down what I should do every single month. Like, ask it questions like you're talking to another human being who's an absolute expert, and you can just copy and paste. That's how you create your marketing calendar. Don't make it any more difficult than that. Like, there's things that AI is amazing at, and that's one of them. Create a marketing plan for me as a real estate agent. Just ask it that, and then go one deeper. How do I make a great video as a real estate agent? How often should I do it? What is the content of that video? Like, at a minimum, it's going to give you great ideas that you can build off of. So it is 1:56, and we're going to start to close things down to that. Who does great videos? My favorite is Cameron Boone at Windermere. He stands out. We do have people doing really good videos in our company. Nicole Battle stands out to me, and it's just because I came across her social media and had a couple conversations with her. Here's what I'll tell you, that there's all sorts of strategies out there for video. And let me put a link in the chat before we go off. So I do have a cousin who works for Berkshire Hathaway in Santa Barbara, California. Okay. And he's been an agent in Santa Barbara for, that's not what I want to do. He's been an agent in Santa Barbara for 20 plus years, very long time. And he has done traditional real estate all that time, working SOIs, door knocking, you name it. And then about 2 or 3 years ago, and he's always been doing video marketing. Okay. He's been doing, putting stuff on YouTube. And about, I don't know, probably about a year ago, I would say that he started diving deep into video or YouTube, right? Generating leads on YouTube. And so I would say that he does a really great job. And you'll notice that the things that he's putting on YouTube have a really long shelf life. And by that, I mean, that's something that 10 months from now, it's as meaningful as it is 10 months in the past or 24 months in the future, right? That's a long shelf life that people still want to look at it. Now, if you say, you should do this video, but here's the market conditions in Utah in October. Well, no one wants to watch that video next June because it's irrelevant, right? But people do want to learn about your community. They want to see real estate in your community. They want to know what it looks like. And so Joe Parker, my dear cousin in Santa Barbara, he has retooled his whole thing. Now, a couple of things to look for as we close out. I want you to look at Joe's bio in his YouTube channel. And his bio in his YouTube channel should be telling there's a whole bunch of ways to interact with him there. And so I asked him after this has been going for a while, I said, is this really working for you? Are you really creating leads? Are you really generating something that's meaningful? He said, absolutely. People are contacting me on almost every way you can contact me that I put in my bio. They're leaving comments, they're doing whatever. This is really working for him. Okay. It's not the core of his business, but it's part of his business. And I'm not telling you to do this because you'll see what he's doing is like, it's not beginner stage. It's sort of next level stuff. But the concept, the loose concept of maybe what you want to do is there. And I think it's a really good example. So this is an example that I know firsthand is working and generating leads for people. And the other great thing about these like real estate videos are, so you can look and say, well, like he has a lot of exploring videos. He even has his lender come around and they just talk about the real estate as they walk through open houses, whatnot, or they talk about specific parts of the town. The key thing here is that let's say you only get 120 views on a video. Those 120 people are the people who are looking for real estate. They're not randoms. Okay. And by the way, this is really great stuff to email to your SOI. So we diverged there. So anyway, we'll wrap it up and we will end this recording. And I hope